Hello everybody and welcome to a very special Jurassic World Evolution 2 live stream. My name is Jens Erik. I am part of the community team here at Frontier, and it is my absolute pleasure to be your host for the next hour or so as we look into some very, very exciting new content that's come to Jurassic World Evolution 2. The Early Cretaceous Pack launched an hour ago on Steam, on PC, Steam and Epic, on PlayStation, and on Xbox, and you can pick it up right now if you want to. We also released free update 1 with a ton of bug fixes and quality of life updates and some new stuff that we're also going to be showing you during this stream. And of course, we're also going to be showing you the different prehistoric animals that you get to add to your parks if you decide to purchase and download the Early Cretaceous Pack. And before we do anything else, let me first say hi to some people in chat. Hydro Spikey is here. Swerve is here. Nice to see you. Crispy Tater Tot, lovely to have you back. Heather G from the mod team is here, sharing some links in chat for our forums where you can catch up on anything related to the update and to the DLC. The full list of patch notes can be found over on our forums. Sean Lee is here. Crims Wolf is here. A bunch of lovely, lovely people that we love to see out there. So are you all excited about the Early Cretaceous Pack? I've been very excited about this pack for the past week, ever since we announced it. And there's a real interesting sort of build up that comes just before a game release or a DLC release. And I've been feeling it all throughout the past week. Adrian says, where did I get this sweater? This was a Christmas gift from my partner. Last year, I have no idea where she got it from, but she got it for me anyway, and it's a great, fantastic, warm Christmas jumper. All right, as I said in the intro, we're going to be digging into some stuff from Update 1, and we're also going to be digging into the prehistoric animals from the Early Cretaceous Pack, and we're going to talk about those towards the end of the stream. I'm, however, not going to be doing this alone. I am joined by Senior Designer James Moulang.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
Hello. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, it's really exciting to release the first DLC and first quality of life upgrades for Jurassic World Evolution.
I know there's a lot of people in chat as well saying, James, hello James, good to see you, etc.
Hello again.
So yeah, players are definitely excited to see you. So for those who don't know you, why don't you quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm James Moulang. I'm a senior game designer on Jurassic World Evolution 2, and I worked on Jurassic World Evolution 1 before that. Yeah, I'm working on the dinosaur behavior side of design as well as park teams and dinosaur management. So
would you call yourself a dinosaur behaviorist?
Yeah, maybe not to a
kind of a leading question, but
a real scientist. I wouldn't, but I'm a dinosaur video game behaviorist. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's fine enough. That's fine enough. So yeah, how does it feel to finally bring this into the world?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really nice to have the opportunity to build on games after they release, compared to the olden times. So we look at the player feedback on social media, on the forums. We look at, we gathered a lot of data from people playing the game as well, which we look at, and then we have our own visions and ideas for the game. So yeah, it's great to have the opportunity to build on all of that and improve the game.
Yeah, it's a really interesting process to sort of take because we have an idea of the game in our heads, and the players have an idea of the game in their heads that we sort of need to try to, I guess, merge in a way and make a product that everyone's happy with, everyone's having fun with. And
exactly, yeah.
I personally have been having a lot of fun checking out some of this new stuff. So I think we can jump right into it. So there's a lot of things in in Update 1, which is completely free and available for everyone. The DLC pack is a paid DLC. And a lot of it is focused on some new things for Sandbox mode, as well as some balance, accessibility changes, quality of life changes, etc. So I think we're going to first focus on some of the new Sandbox mode content. Then we can talk a bit about the changes that we made, and then we can go into the Early Cretaceous Pack itself. Sound good?
It's great. Sounds good.
All right, so hopefully if I push this button, yes.
There we go.
It works. So I think one of the biggest news is that the maps from the campaign mode are now available in Sandbox mode. So if you've completed the campaign, or if you've completed just a few of the campaign levels, they will be immediately accessible from this Sandbox mode menu right here. So if you've been following our Let's Play streams, you know that we've made it up to and finished the Oregon map, I think it was last week, and so we only have California and Yosemite to go. But then once I've completed that, all the campaign maps will be available to me in Sandbox mode. Do you have a favorite of these maps, James?
I like Washington. Yeah, it's a unique layout, I think, and you know, it's just kind of designed around campaign, but it's still really cool to see it in Sandbox. And you know, I think it's really nice to have these maps in Sandbox because people, you know, they play them, then they move on to the next level, and they're saying, oh, I really want to flesh out this park and sort of see it through to completion, and now they can, and they can start it completely from scratch as well, and just mold it in their own vision, basically.
Definitely. There was a lot of players I remember saying, oh, the Pennsylvania map was so cool with the airport and everything, and I really want to go back there and see it again. And I think all of these are just look incredible, and they offer a lot of, you know, some Sandbox variety if you want that.
Yeah, and just looking at this list as well.
Yeah, it's quite the list of quite the list of maps, up to 14 maps now. And of course, the buildable area is also listed as you scroll over the different maps here, and a lot of them are listed as large, which I think players will enjoy. Another fun Sandbox feature, sorry, just need to scratch my nose a little bit, is that we know that players would like to be able to, some players like to start off with a Sandbox map as is, and some players like to start off with a completely flattened Sandbox mode, and so a Sandbox map. And so we've added the option now, if you pick your map, go to custom, and then you can basically just choose flattened terrain. So you don't have to spend a lot of time flattening out the terrain and removing all the foliage. So this will just flatten and remove everything on the Sandbox map. So you can just jump right in and get to building.
Blank slate.
Yes. There's also a couple of other things we've added in here. We've added in some color grading for the different areas and the different eras. So there's Jurassic World Alpine, Jurassic Park, World, etc., depending on which different map you've chosen. So here I can go with, for the Washington State map, neutral, Alpine, Park, World, and so on and so on. I think it's a really neat sort of addition to the Sandbox settings, especially if you like, you know, playing with a specific color grading in mind when you're going through these different maps.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's the major ones in terms of just menu options. Oh, I forgot. In campaign now as well, there's a level picker. So if you've completed all the previous, if you've completed campaign levels, you can now go back and replay them if you want to, which some players might want to do that because there might be some dinosaurs that you missed out on in the campaign, for example, which if that is something you would like to do, then absolutely you can do that. And I think now we can jump into this Sandbox here. Great. That I've called Stream Sandbox. Much like the DFW, I am very functional when it comes to building my parks and naming my parks.
Did you start from a blank one in this, or did you go with?
I may have started with a blank, with a completely flattened map because I wanted to show off something in particular for this specific map. So we just get this loaded up here. So I've built what I would call a pretty basic park. As you can see, I've got a couple of lagoons in here. I've got a couple of aviaries. I've got one land dinosaur enclosure right here. And you may have noticed that this was the Nublar 2015 map, which in its unflattened state comes with the monorail and the big Jurassic World gate. However, if you choose the flattened version of this map, that will be removed, and you can build your park without it if you want to.
Nice.
And if I seem to remember that there were some players out there who wished for that as an option as well. So, and if I'm remembering correctly, I think if you do the same for the San Diego map, that will remove the amphitheater in Sandbox mode. Am I correct? Can you?
I can't remember.
Do you remember? You can't remember.
But this is nice though because it has that totally wild feeling, right? Yeah.
Yes, and so from here I can go in and edit, and I can still do my I can raise the terrain up, I can lower it down if I want to. I can make all the changes that I want to, if I want to. Let me just flatten this out.
I'll be interested to see if many people end up flattening it themselves anyway, just 'cause I feel like it's kind of a therapeutic exercise, scrubbing the map clean.
It's sort of a tradition now. You're starting a new thing, you're picking your height level, and you just go, all right, flatten it all, just slowly, bit by bit by bit.
Yeah.
It could be. I don't know. Let's see, there was a question here in chat. Deluxe Edition has this DLC. No, it does not. The Deluxe Edition does not come with a season pass, so this DLC is not included in the Deluxe Edition. This needs to be, well, the Early Cretaceous Pack needs to be purchased separately. The free update 1 will be available for all players across all platforms. So we'll try to make that distinction as clearly as possible. Let me see if there's some other questions here that I can see before we move on. Paleo Sam says, great new feature. Curious to see what flatten does to the Southwest USA map. I think it'll make it look pretty good, if I'm being honest. Adrian Silas says, this is a lot better for recreation of the parks. Thank you so much. And so yeah, it seems to me that people are pretty happy to be able to build on these flattened maps. Speaking of other things that you can build with, we're also adding in a whole set of DFW buildings. Now, if eagle-eyed viewers may have already seen that my entire park, apart from a couple of features, is built entirely with DFW buildings.
Yeah, it's nice to have the consistent theming.
Absolutely. And so if you've played through the campaign and you thought to yourself, oh, that DFW aviary was really cool, and I really like their response facility, now you can put it into your Sandbox park. And if you're then playing on PC or new-gen consoles, you'll be able to mix and match all three themes. So you can have Jurassic World, Park, and DFW buildings all in one place, which I think is really, really neat. And I think it's going to make for some really cool and interesting looking parks. So the DFW is essentially its own era in the game when you're firing up a Sandbox park. And you can also do visitors specifically from the DFW era, if I'm not mistaken. I've just selected mixed visitors. So these are just visitors from all over, basically. All right, so should we take a look at some of these buildings, James?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
So we've got our arrival point over here, our nice staff center, looking a little bit militaristic, but very, barracks, very government agency, very, barracks, and the, what do you call this metal? Is this sheet metal?
Oh, yeah, sheet metal, I guess. So there's a word for that kind of hut. But all of these are kind of meant to be sort of prefabricated and temporary buildings, right, that kind of fits the DFW style. And I think these will be nice as well mixed in with the other eras, just because they appear so much more operational. They kind of appear like the behind the scenes ranger staff theme. So yeah, mixing them in, you can create distinct areas in your parks. Definitely. And they're very, you can even look inside. You see you've got the DFW logo there. I think they fit pretty well with some of the other buildings as well. And or as you said, you can make these little areas if you want. So if you want to build sort of an entire facility rather than a park, now you have that option. There was a question here in chat asking, is there an option to remove dinosaur fights now? I actually did not get to that earlier when I did the Sandbox settings, but let me just find that right here. That should be, yes. So dinosaur combat frequency can be set to none. Turn off dinosaur fights completely if you want to, or turn them back on if you want to see your dinosaurs get into scraps.
So that's absolutely possible. The campaign was great. Good job playing Chaos Theory, and it's pretty good. Thank you so much. And so yeah, all of the DFW buildings that you are familiar with from the campaign will be here. Yeah, we've got our staff center there, another staff center there, paleomedical facility, as you may remember it, emergency shelter. So basically it is a full suite, set is what I'm looking for, of DFW buildings that you've seen in the campaign, and some buildings that you may have not seen in the campaign. Because, for example, why would the DFW be building hotels in the campaign? However, if we turn around over here, I keep pushing shift as if to speed up the camera. I've been playing too much Lemniscape. So right over here, we've got our large hotel, which is looking, you know, again, government agency, looking a bit barracksy, but I think it looks pretty good.
I'm glad you mentioned this. This is one of the funny ones to me because, I mean, you know, gameplay-wise, a hotel is increasing the capacity of the park, right? Mm-hmm. But obviously the DFW aren't going to be putting up hotels with swimming pools and bars in the lobby and stuff. So, yeah, if I'd been advertised a hotel and I ended up staying here, I'm like,
this is more dinosaur facility boot camp rather than a luxury vacation.
Yeah, but it totally fits the theme.
Yes, absolutely, and I really liked the look of it because, yeah, like you said, it fits in the theme. You've got the nice logo here and everything. It is very, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see this in any sort of government facility of any kind.
Yeah, definitely.
I saw there was a question in chat asking if you can turn on money in Sandbox mode. You absolutely can. I just set it to unlimited because it's much easier for this stream to have unlimited money and be able to show off everything. And I think, if I can find it, yep, we've got the small hotel over here, and then that was the large hotel over there. Same sort of similar vibe to it. It's even got communal bathrooms.
Luxury.
I actually didn't notice this before, but it's got a vending machine over here serving chill branded water, which I just love. Like,
that's my favorite brand. Yeah.
My hat's off to the building artists who made this. And yeah, from the campaign, we've got the DFW style aviary, which I've built in this sort of criss-crossy pattern. And it's looking pretty good. It's got the same sort of mesh fence design to it, but with these additional, I'm not sure what you're calling these, like protective, maybe they're sort of
overhanging fences. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Overhanging fences. And then over here, we're going to get to that a little bit later. And let's see, here we've got some DFW style, well, a DFW lagoon that I've just built out in a nice, almost circular pattern. We've got lagoon viewing stands, which, much like the other viewing stands, can be lowered down.
It's very extravagant government spending.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes when you're a government agency and you need to observe dinosaurs up close, then, you know, you need to be able to see the marine reptiles from an up close and personal viewpoint, right?
Good point.
Would you visit a dinosaur park with these kinds of viewing stands where you could sort of go below the water and look at marine reptiles?
Yeah, I think I would visit pretty much any dinosaur park if it really existed. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, the films maybe should be off-putting in that sense, but I think I would take the chance.
Yeah, I mean, the films are a cautionary tale, but, you know, sometimes things just can go right, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean, Jurassic World ran for quite a while before it all exploded, so it's really a matter of timing more than anything else. For sure. So what's your favorite dinosaur? What sort of dinosaur would you like to see in a park like this? I think probably sauropods, just Brachiosaurus and things like that, just for the scale, would just be unlike any other animal, really. So.
Yeah, same. I do really like sauropods. Just make the herbivores as big and as long as possible, and they just it's amazing. Like you get really awestruck when you're realizing, oh, these creatures were huge. Like they were tree size and above.
Actually, in Cambridge, we have a iguanodon skeleton in
really?
In the zoology museum, and even that's one of the smaller dinosaurs compared to a Brachiosaurus. But you know, it's to the well, you all can't see the size of the ceiling in this room, but it's up to that. It's just massive.
I need to check that out. And yeah, inside this aviary, we've got some lovely looking pteranodon who can now perch on rocks if they want to. This one's feeling a bit lonely because it's only got itself and another one for companionship. We're going to release some later and show you some other cool things. But yeah, pteranodons and other flying reptiles can now land on rock perch points. So I put down a bunch of rocks here for them to land on in case they need to. And I think it's one of the things that add, you know, a bit more verisimilitude to the proceedings.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, it's just an extra thing for them to do, and it's also very realistic to what they probably would have done. Spend a lot of time sat on the side of cliffs, just waiting to hunt some fish, basically.
Exactly, and it's also, you know, I just like seeing them sit. I think it's just they look really relaxed, like they're having a good time, just having a bit of a rest, getting some stamina back, and then they fly around again.
Yeah, it's a really nice addition.
Speaking of new buildings, I showed off some of this in our stream last week, but we've got a Jurassic Park themed aviary right here. No flying reptiles in that, I'm afraid. I just set this down as illustration. And right over here, we've got the Jurassic Park lagoon with viewing stands and with lagoon hatchery, because we're also adding this to Jurassic World Evolution 2 with update update 1 is what I'm trying to say. Ugh. Numbers, what are they? All right, so that's the DFW building set. That's the Jurassic Park lagoon and aviary. Steve Alberts in chat says old school aviaries look really cool. They absolutely do. I think these look great.
Yeah, they're really nice.
I think they all look really great. I think it's cool to see sort of the evolution of the sort of building styles that they have, with Park as the sort of a bit more industrially, and then we go into World, which is more, I guess, more fiberglass and more like hardened glass and stuff like that. And then you have the government agency, DFW, in the middle as sort of the middle ground between the two. Yeah.
And it's cool seeing the Jurassic Park theme for the lagoon hatchery as well. Just it's got traces of the raptor paddock in it, you know, with that sort of big tower. It's really nice to see. There is a sort of Jurassic Park original architectural style, and just seeing that added to these new forms, it's really cool. Even got the flames on the gate for the hatchery.
Yeah, there's a lot of concrete and like steel wire, I guess, is the thing. Like these very thick cables that you see here. There's a lot of that as well, which I think is a really interesting style. Speaking of style, I put down these three amenities buildings here. They're doing okay in terms of profit, but there's some stuff that we've done for customization in this pack as well, or in this update as well. Can you run us a bit through the randomize option for these amenities buildings?
Sure. Yeah. So this is just gonna see all the all the options here. Is just gonna pick a random one from each one.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really nice feature. It's gonna give people an idea of, you know, just how much variety there is, and you may random into something and you go, oh, I like this. Now I want to tweak a few little bits and bobs here and there. Yeah, it's a nice way to introduce variety into your park, or you can use it as a way to sort of inspire yourself to discover new configurations of buildings that you might not have realized before.
Definitely. And I think just by clicking the button, you really see just by changing some of these things. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's 6, 7 different things. And you've got buildings that just look very, very different just by a single touch of a button. And then, as you said, you can just change it back and forth. Because like right now, I think, yeah, this is an action figures shop. I should probably change that coffee sign.
So, coffee action figure shop.
Yeah, exactly. And then, let's see, archaeology, books, fossils. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, toys, for example. And then if I want to, I can go in and tweak. But I think that's looking pretty good.
The way the interiors change as well is really cool.
Oh, I didn't notice that, but they of course do. Yep, nice. Love it. So we go to the next one. Same thing. Just click the randomize all button. That's weird. There we go. Just a tiny, tiny thing. Teresa Richardson saying, I have so many park ideas. Amazing. Simply Savannah, thank you so much for joining us. It's good to have you here. Happy Chappy says, the Lagoon Hatchery reminds me of the huge building you ride into the Jurassic Park River Adventure at Universal. I've never been there, but I will take your word for it, and I would love to go at some point.
Work research trip, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, we should. Hey, let's do that. All right, so that is the randomize option for the amenities buildings. It's definitely going to help my amenities buildings, because right now I just plunk them down. I make sure that they're earning a profit, which this one absolutely isn't. From there, I just let them be, really. But this is a very cool and quick way for someone to just make an amenity building look its best.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I don't know, are you much, do you like go in and tinker with the way they look, or do you try to just leave them as is when you're playing?
I'm quite a functional player. When I'm testing the game, I'm mainly looking to see how things are working from a gameplay point of view. So I'm a bit like you as well. I put them down, I make sure they're meeting the guest needs, and then I move on. But you know, players play this game in a different way to designers who are developing it. That's for sure.
For sure, absolutely.
And to them, it's more of a to you guys, it's more of, you know, big toy, big sandbox, especially in sandbox mode itself. So it's great to see these features go in and let people really personalize their parks.
Definitely, for sure. And I've seen some really cool shops that people have put together. I've seen some cool like main streets that people have put together, where everything looks its best, really. And it's the same thing for your attractions buildings as well, where you can just hit randomize, and then you can go in and you can also randomize all the colors if you want. I actually forgot to show that, but then any sort of randomization you want to do in terms of color and the architecture, you can go ahead and do that to your heart's content. Unicast Gaming says, I always change the design to fit the building I'm building, so if I have a forest area, I will have more jungly buildings. That's interesting.
Ooh, that's nice.
All right, so we've got some of these Pteranodon here. They need some extra friends. Not the drone, please, but there we go, hatchery. So before we start looking at the DLC dinosaurs, I want to show off something else, because speaking of a randomize option. So first of all, we've done some changes here in the editing, the genome editing screen. So now you'll have more of a better indication of how the different skin and pattern colors will look. And then also when you click here, you'll see these swatches here, and you can mix and match and see what will look its best.
Yeah, this is so much easier to use, and the nice thing is that it shows how many different colors are available. So, and you can see which ones you can still unlock as well. So, this is the massive improvement.
And also, I saw there was a question in chat: randomize colors, please. Well, there's this dice option here. Do you want to explain what this is, James?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this works really well with the color swatches, but so the idea here is that we in Jurassic World Evolution 2 we introduced the concept of multi-dinosaur release. So you incubate multiple dinosaurs at once and release them all at the same time, and so building on that, we have the ability to pick a random skin or a random color. So when you see them all come out of the hatchery, then you'll get a sort of rainbow mix of dinosaurs, which looks really cool.
Yep. And this random option, so I'm just going to go in and modify this genome again. This random option is per egg. So you can have a random skin color and the same pattern color. You can choose random for both, or you can choose a set skin color and a random pattern color if you want to. And yeah, this will be per egg. So all the dinosaurs or flying reptiles or marine reptiles will come in looking differently. So if I'm remembering correctly, I've hit the randomizer on every single reptile and dinosaur that I have prepared for this stream. So let's just see how these will end up looking. Got some lovely pteranodons here, joining their brethren. And then if you want to, you can just go in and see which cosmetic they all have. Easy as that.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. They've got really nice hatchery exit animations as well, the way it transitions into them flying really seamlessly.
For sure. I mean, my favorite part of this game, just hands down, is always the release animation.
Yeah.
Because it's just so fun seeing them come out. Before we start talking about the Early Cretaceous Pack, there are some balancing and like accessibility changes and some quality of life changes. Do you want to get into that a bit more, James?
Yeah, sure. So we one thing we worked on was dominance fights. So that is two dinosaurs fighting over who becomes the leader of a territory. So we had some issues from players where they felt like those were happening too frequently. And what we've done is we've addressed this on the trait side. So we have traits like aggressive, we have traits like attack and defense boosting traits, and we've changed the effects of those traits and the way that they interact with dominance. So dominance is what determines which dinosaur wants to be the territory leader.
Right.
But combat stats are what determine whether it's actually going to end up as the leader.
Right.
So we've rebalanced those stats to make sure that they're a bit more in line. And this should mean that in a lot of cases where a dinosaur wanted to become the territory leader, but it just wasn't capable of winning the fight, it's either going to become the leader or it's not going to want to fight in the first place. So I think that will go a long way towards reducing injuries from dinosaurs and reducing combat, unwanted combat. Obviously, some combat is good to have. But,
I mean, yeah, sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what else have we done? We've injuries and diseases are now just a little less common in general, especially in challenge mode. We've sort of rebalanced those slightly. And a change as well that I think people are going to really like is when we reveal that a dinosaur has a disease or an injury. So now we're changing that to say if a dinosaur has a ranger scan and it has an ailment that has been eradicated from the park in the past, then it reveals that ailment automatically. So that's going to reduce cases where you send an MVU to check out what ailment a dinosaur has, and then you have to assign it again to then treat the ailment, because these ailments are now just going to be revealed ahead of time. So it'll be a single click kind of operation.
Yep. So you don't have to send your MVUs to scan every single ailment that happens. If you've treated it before, it will pop up automatically, and you can just be like, all right, MVUs, go fix it, and then the MVUs will go and fix it.
Exactly. You can think about that as that the rangers are learning how to identify these issues, basically.
Anything else that's worth mentioning?
I was thinking of something else. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah, we've done some changes to things like disease outbreaks in challenge mode.
Yes.
In some of the difficulties. There's some storm and disease frequency changes that we made for chaos theory, because some players were having some trouble with a lot of storms coming in. So we made some changes on the back end there to make sure that maybe all those strong winds aren't coming in quite as frequently as some of you experienced.
Yeah.
And yeah, as Heather G in chat points out, it is definitely a long list. If you are in either Twitch or YouTube, then Heather should have posted the link to our forums with all of the patch notes in chat, so you can just find them there. And it's quite the quite the list.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
say. So there was a question here. Can you give an example of the auto paint feature? Well, let's see if I can. So basically, the auto paint feature is also something new in the Early Cretaceous Pack, in the update 1, I mean. So basically what I'm doing here is I turn on auto paint, and as I'm increasing the height of this particular part of the map, it will automatically paint with a new texture.
Yeah, this is really nice, and it basically builds up the gradient of the surface, and whether it's a peak or a valley as well. And it's a really nice starting point to then sort of add a bit more detail in yourself. But yeah, I think it works really, really well.
I really like it, and I like how it slowly transitions from one thing to the other. So you can sort of, yeah, you can build up these rock hills, for example, and then smooth it out on top, and then it should.
Yeah, it makes a sort of plateau now.
Yeah.
This is really nice. I mean, this is all stuff that you could do manually, you know, because we have very detailed terrain tools. Players can do this stuff themselves if they want to, but just making it more accessible and making it so it gives you a nice starting point, I think it's going to be really appreciated.
I hope so. I can't wait to see how players use this as well. And then if you want to, of course, I'm going to go back and and if you want to, of course, you can just go in, choose another painting option, and just paint over it.
Yep.
If you feel like it. All right, let's get this flattened out. And let's take a look at some prehistoric animals. What do you say?
Sounds good.
Okay. So I've got here so last week we did show off the Wurosaurus, but I think these Wurosaurus have all set both random skin color and pattern color. So let's see what these look like. Yay!
Fashion parade.
Oh, they look so good!
Yeah, they're really nice. I love the sort of round dorsal plates they've got on their back. Really sort of makes them unique compared to the other stegosaurids.
For sure. Yeah, as you pointed out. Oh, hello, George. They are a stegosaurus, stegosaurid. Anything else you can tell us about the Wurosaurus?
Yeah, they've got the classic. They've got the thagomizer on the end of their tail, the spikes, and like I said, they've got the round dorsal plates, which, you know, it's not for sure known if they actually had these round dorsal plates, because the fossils that they have been discovered are probably broken, but there's also nothing saying that they didn't. So I just think they look really cool.
I'm just going to set it to daytime so we can see them a bit more clearly.
And the patterning on the plates is really nice as well.
So you can see here that they all have some different looking colorations on both pattern and skin color, which is really nice. So yeah, and then also if you want to, you can just check to see what their cosmetics are right here in the Genome tab. So for choosing things like environmental needs and social needs, like where do you start with this?
Yeah, so for these, they're stegosaurids, obviously. So we mainly base the environmental needs off the group that a dinosaur belongs to. So that's going to determine the types of food that they like. So these ones like ground-based food, obviously, fibers and fruit, and their relationships with other dinosaurs are also going to be based off what group they belong to. So we take the dinosaurs that probably would have competed with these for food in the wild, and those are typically going to be the cohabitation relationships that are negative. So a stegosaurid is not going to get on with ceratopsids or ankylosaurids. I think they don't even get on with other stegosaurids, but they will get on along with sauropods, which they don't compete with for their food.
Mm-hmm.
And then we occasionally throw in a few unique quirks on a per species basis, maybe a few species like each other.
All right, that's cool. I've noticed that pretty much every species likes the compies, which I do appreciate because them being so small, they can't really do much to any other dinosaurs.
Yeah, it makes it seem like the compy is a really popular dinosaur. It's more a product of the way this system works, right? So, for example, the Stegosaurid dislikes carnivores because carnivores like to eat stegosaurids, right?
Yes.
But the compy is not a threat. So we basically say that it dislikes carnivores, but it likes the compy.
Yeah, the compies won't have an effect on their social stuff.
Yes, because we wouldn't want the Werosaurus to be breaking out of its enclosure just because it's sharing with a compy.
Exactly. Moving on to the, and we had a discussion about this before the stream. So I know some people say min-mai and some people say min-me. I'm just going to say min-me because that's what I'm used to. So for the min-me here, I've made him ready for incubation because I wanted to show off how this random cosmetic, how this random pattern and skin color works when you're selecting eggs. So basically, when you're choosing your eggs, you can see here that which one will have which combination. So then if, two of them have the same combination and you don't want that, you can just not select that egg, really.
Yeah.
And I got to say, this just has to be one of the cutest dinosaurs I've ever seen in my life.
It's adorable. Its face in that little preview. Yeah. They knew what they were doing when they took that picture, for sure.
Absolutely. All right. And I know that there's a lot of, let's call it mini-me, maybe not.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some love for the min-me in the chat here as well. So let's get these sped up so we can see what they look like when they come out of the hatchery. I'm very much looking forward to this. All right. So, release the dinosaurs.
And yeah, I mean, these ones are just adorable.
Yeah. And these are an ankylosaurid.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. They interesting fact. They have got slightly longer legs than most of the other ankylosaurids. You can see that. Yeah, like if you compare this to the ankylosaurus, it's basically a big tank that's really low to the ground, but this one is a bit more focused on evasion than defense when it comes to dealing with carnivores. They're probably better at just running away.
Yeah, because there's no sort of hammer, I guess you would call it, at the end of this tail, whereas the ankylosaur has that big, I guess, I'm not sure what it is, but have the big sort of club at the end there.
Club, exactly. Yeah, I mean, they could probably use their tail offensively, but their armor is a lot less widely covering their body.
Oh, I may have done a boo-boo here and put them together with the Werosaurus, but I've also just completely turned off anything that has to do with dinosaur comfort, so they will be fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that we keep in mind when we're balancing the cohabitation needs. These two dinosaurs actually need pretty similar food, so we're trying to make it so that it's a bit of a puzzle in terms of what dinosaurs do you put together and how do you split up their food so they don't have to fight over it.
Yep, that's usually what I try to do. I try to go for dinosaurs and animals that do well together and don't really bother each other that much. It's led to some interesting combinations of dinosaurs, I've come to find. Super King Ghidorah asks, what's our favorite from the Early Cretaceous pack? I think for me it's the min-me, honestly.
I like Werosaurus.
Werosaurus?
Yep.
Yeah, they are pretty good looking.
It's very beautiful.
Absolutely. And I like how, even though it's sort of big and bulky, it seems very sleek as well.
It is sleek, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to describe it.
And I did also read a fun fact about the min-me. Even though they look very, very small, I think some of I think they're estimated to have been like 3 meters in length.
Yeah.
And weighing like 300 kilograms.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like you see them in this kind of view and you go, oh wow, it's so cute, so small. Oh, look at it, biting the tail of the other one.
Oh no.
But if you were to see one of these in real life, or you see it next to a human, you get a sense for how massive they are. Yeah.
They really are big.
These ones are really social as well, compared to some of the other ankylosaurids. So we have a sort of stat which determines how much extra space dinosaurs need when they go over their minimum social. And the sort of sociability rating is a sort of stat that each dinosaur has. And these have about 60% sociability compared to Ankylosaurus, which is more like 20%. So you can make big enclosures full of these. And I thought that just made sense, seeing how cute they are and how small they are. They probably would have wanted to be in a bit of a group.
Yeah, they have a, let me take a look at this Wurosaurus here. Yeah, it seems like you can have a fair bit of them, especially in terms of population here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's jump over to the Thungaripterus, which is a flying reptile. So there are 4 prehistoric animals in this pack. It is the Wurosaurus, the Minmi, the Thungaripterus, and the Chronosaurus. And let's just see what these look like.
Love that running start.
I love the running start. It's so good.
Yeah, these ones are really cool. They're quite a small pterosaurid. But they've got a very unique face, very unique skull.
Yes.
You can see the sort of curved beak. And apparently those curved beaks were used to extract their prey from cracks in rocks. You can see how it sort of, it could reach in with that.
Yeah.
And then it's got no teeth at the front of its jaw as well. But it's got very strong teeth at the back of its jaw, which it probably used to crack open shellfish.
It certainly looks like it. Oh, careful. And then, all of these have also been set to random. Oh, look at this.
The spots are really cool.
That looks so good, and especially the crest on top of the head as well. That's some good coloration. Well done, random generator.
Yeah.
That's the Amazon rainforest and Papurana in combination. And these just all look really, really good. And I find it really interesting how they remind me a lot of bats.
Yeah.
Really.
With the way the arms, I guess those are arms, in their wings, the sort of, the way the skin of the wings is stretched over the arms, it is very bat-like, yeah.
For sure. All right, so that is the Thungaripterus, which, like with all flying reptiles, will be able to perch on rocks. And I think they're doing pretty well in terms of, shared with Pteranodon. They don't have any particular dislikes. They do not like the Dr. Wu hybrids, however.
Understandable.
Very much understandable. I think I've seen a Indoraptor take down a flying reptile, and that was very brutal.
Yeah. The flying reptiles have a bit more, what's the word? A bit more detailed cohabitation requirements, just because there's a smaller set of them than there are land reptiles, and so we wanted to have, as much complexity when it comes to which ones can share. If it just said, oh, it doesn't like pteranodons, then that would be all of them. So that's why it calls out the specific species.
All right, I think now we're ready for the big one, the Chronosaurus. Let's just do it. So the Early Cretaceous Pack available for purchase now on all platforms, and Update 1 available on all platforms as well. Just download it, and all the building stuff that we've shown off is available on all platforms as well. So both PC, current gen, and last gen consoles can use the DFW building pieces and the Jurassic Park Lagoon and Aviary. So here it is, and it is just looking absolutely fantastic.
It really does, yeah. It's kind of cute, actually.
It weirdly is, yeah.
It's maybe not what I'd be thinking if I was in that lagoon with it.
No, if I was in the water with it, I would be terrified.
Yeah.
If I was behind, like, strong security glass, I think I would be fine.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm going to see if I can get it to, I mean, it should eventually. If we can get it to eat, because it should, sooner than later, eat from these 2 shark feeders that I've put up here.
That's right, yeah, and it's the first other than the mosasaur, first marine reptile to do that, as it's got a big old mouth that can fit a shark in it.
Let's see. It did a bit of a dive there. Maybe. Come on, Kronosaurus. Make us proud.
It's great just to see it swim around, though. The animations are so fluid.
Yes. Phrygia points out she moves a bit like a seal, which it is somewhat similar, yeah, with the sort of fly through the water.
And those flippers are very seal-like as well. Really powerful flippers.
I'm just gonna let this run for a little bit. Not wise says that's something Steve Irwin would pat. I think so. Oh, there we go. There we go. Nice.
Nice. I love how it sort of hangs on the shark just for a little bit.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, because like Mosasaurus being what it is can just rip it down.
Yeah.
The Kronosaurus is a little bit smaller, but still able to tear that shark up, and just it looks absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it looks great, that one.
Okay, wow, that is all the creatures in the Early Cretaceous pack. Well, animals, I should say. And any fun facts about the Kronosaurus that you have to share?
I was just looking it up before this, and apparently this one would have coexisted with giant squids.
Oh, really?
Which, and I'll just clarify that we're not confirming or denying giant squids
Ever existing.
yet. But it would be a sight to see it fighting with one of those.
For sure. I just wanted to release these ichthyosaurs because I think they look good.
They look great, and it's cool to see them come out of the Jurassic Park hatchery as well.
Yep.
Yeah, in terms of its gameplay, the Kronosaurus, it's quite similar to the Mosasaurus, so it needs a lot of space, it's not very sociable. With other members of its own species, it kind of has to be the apex marine reptile in its enclosure, but it needs a little less space than the Mosasaurus, just which reflects its size.
Yeah. Needs a fish that I haven't put in there yet, so let's just...
In terms of its comfort, in terms of like what makes it satisfied in its enclosure, it asks for fish, but it can eat the shark if it's available.
I mean, it'll take what it can get, I assume.
Yeah, and it'll be happy about it.
Yeah, that's good. And in my park, it will always be happy because I turn off dinosaur comfort. Okay, so I do think that is it for this stream because we've shown off all the animals from the Early Cretaceous pack, shown off some of the sort of big stuff from the update number 1. Am I forgetting something? I don't think so.
I think that's it.
I think that is it, yeah. But if you haven't already, head to our forums or to our website where you will find a list of everything that has changed with update 1, and that is now available as a free update on all platforms, so PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, and Xbox Series X and S, and Xbox One, and the Early Cretaceous pack is available for purchase on all platforms as well. All right, and before we go, is it here? No, it's not here. I would like to remind folks that we have a competition, a giveaway running via Gleam, where you can win some incredible prizes. I'm just going to get that up on the screen very, very shortly here, where you can win a custom-made Xbox One, a headset from HyperX, a gaming chair from Noble Chairs, and a full set of Jurassic World Evolution 2 branded merchandise. We will give a retweet of that giveaway over on our Twitter feed at JW_evolution right after this stream, so make sure you find that. And I think also Heather right ahead of me, sharing that link both in YouTube and Twitch chat. So don't miss out on that giveaway because it ends tomorrow. So if you haven't entered already, it is time to enter now. All right, that brings us to the end of our hour here. James, thank you so much for coming with me and checking out Update 1 and the Early Cretaceous pack. It was great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks everyone for playing the game, giving us all your feedback as well.
And And I would, of course, love to have you back to talk more about dinosaur behaviors and dinosaur creation and all that stuff. But that is for a future stream. And my name has been Jens. I am part of the community team here at Frontier. And we will see you all later. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.